News 3 New Mexico, we have an update on the Portales Skate Park.
Winter weather is returning to New Mexico. Find out more in my full weather forecast.
CVS and Walgreens are now certified to sell a medication abortion pill in states where it is legal. That story and more right now.
This is News 3 New Mexico, your local source for news, sports, and first weather.
Good evening and welcome to News 3 New Mexico. I'm Chandra Benz.
And I'm Paige Guard. Thank you so much for watching.
The fires in the Panhandle are slowly being put out with only 3 fires remaining. The Smokehouse Creek fire is now 87% contained, the Windy Deuce fire is 92% contained, and the Grapevine Creek fire is 96% contained. Xcel Energy, the company responsible for providing power to most of the Panhandle, has acknowledged that their facilities appear to have been involved in the ignition of the Smokehouse Creek fire, which has burned over 1 million acres in the land of Texas and over 31,000 acres in Oklahoma. Thousands of cattle have been killed or by the fire or euthanized due to severe burns. Xcel Energy is encouraging people who have had livestock lost or property that was destroyed to submit a claim through the Xcel Energy claims process.
The ballots are in for the City of Clovis municipal elections, and Michael Morris has been re-elected as the mayor of the City of Clovis. This follows a long race against opposing candidate Misty Bertrand, who ran on a platform of developing the economy and improving quality of life in Clovis. Morris received approximately 79% of the vote and is expected to take back office in the next few weeks. Other election results include the Clovis Commissioners for District 1, George Talamaj, Jones for District 2, Gail Tarson. For District 3, Debbie Zamora won the election for a 2-year term, and Helen Casos won for a 4-year term. And for District 4, Chris Bryant.
Police received a call reporting an armed robbery Wednesday evening on March 6th in the parking lot of the Clovis Lowe's Home Improvement. The victim of the robber, Irene Salazar, was returning to her vehicle when the suspect, Daniel Acosta, pointed a gun at her and told her to give him everything she had. Salazar gave Acosta her purse, which had her phone, wallet, and reading glasses. Acosta then got into an older blue sedan car and fled the scene with another man who drove them away. With cooperation from Lowe's, detectives were able to review the video footage to identify the suspect. The suspects were later found in a Motel 7 in Clovis, New Mexico. Daniel Acosta had an outstanding warrant for his arrest, charging him with robbery, felon in possession of a firearm or destructive device, receiving stolen property, and resisting, evading, or obstructing an officer. Acosta has been arrested as a result of the community coming together. So, Johnny, is spring coming, or are we being fooled back into winter?
Well, we're going to have a couple more days of that cold weather starting to come in.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but as you see for the United States, we currently have some rain that's sort of going up through the east, sort of heading north through like all the way from Alabama, all the way up into like Chicago, Illinois, and Wisconsin as well. But as you can see in New Mexico, we are starting to see some rain and snow that's sort of moving north up into Denver. And we do have a winter weather advisory for Bernalillo, Cibola, McKinley, and Sandoval counties, as well as Colfax, Rio Arriba, Sandoval, and Taos counties. That's going to be in effect until Saturday at 5 a.m., and that's going to be all of this purple color right here. Our current temperatures, we're seeing a lot of 40s, 50s, and 30s, but I'll have more on that in my full weather forecast. Back to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. The New Mexico Department of Health announced the appointment of Dr. Jose A. Acosta as the new director for the Public Health Division. Dr. Acosta will be reporting directly to Secretary Patrick Allen and assume his new role starting April 1st, 2024. The Public Health Division works with individuals, families, and communities in New Mexico to achieve optimal health. The division provides public health leadership by developing health policy, sharing expertise with the community, ensuring access to coordinated systems of care, and delivering services to promote health and prevent disease, injury, disability, and premature death. In response to his appointment, Dr. Jose A. Acosta stated, quote, "I am truly humbled and honored to accept the role of Director of the Public Health Division, and I am deeply committed to the Secretary's goal of making New Mexico the healthiest state by 2040. A New Mexico resident attended President Joe Biden's State of the Union address Thursday night as legislation is pending to expand on the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act.
Tina Cordova, co-founder of the Tularosa Basin Downwinders Consortium, was invited to the annual presidential address by Democratic Senator Ben Ray Lujan of New Mexico. Public News reporter Roz Brown has more.
In the coming days, the Senate is scheduled to vote on legislation to reauthorize RECA, the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. RECA was passed in 1990, with money going to residents of the Southwest who were harmed either from uranium mining or atomic tests in 1945. The original legislation included downwinders in Arizona, Utah, and Nevada, but New Mexico was left out, despite the state being home to the world's first atomic bomb testing and explosion. Tina Cordova has made it her life's work to get New Mexico families compensated.
I've been working for 19 years to bring attention to the negative health effects the people of New Mexico suffered after the Trinity bomb was detonated in the middle of our state and adjacent to a bunch of towns where 13,000 people lived in a 50-mile radius.
Cordova says the more than 30-year-old compensation program was an admission of guilt on the part of the government, but left out many of those harmed. She knows families who've lost relatives to cancer, some within 10 years of the nuclear bomb testing.
I just hope that people who know I'm present realize that we will never give up the fight. We will work very hard to get the RECA amendments passed this year. But if by some chance that doesn't happen, we will continue to fight this fight for justice as long as it takes.
You are the men who gave them the power to destroy themselves.
This Sunday, the Hollywood blockbuster Oppenheimer, about the creation of the atomic bomb, is a favorite to win Best Picture at the 2024 Academy Awards. The film did not address impacts to those downwind of the bombing site. I'm Roz Brown reporting.
In the coming days, the Senate is scheduled to vote on legislation to reauthorize the act, now scheduled to end in June. The Cheech and Chong Cannabis Company is opening a new dispensary location in Clovis, New Mexico.
Is that a joint, man? That goddamn looks like a quarter pounder, man.
That clips from the comedy duos Up in Smoke. Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong have been behind the opening of several locations in other parts of the state, including Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Roswell, and Hobbs. The Clovis grand opening is March 20th. The Hollywood stars Cheech and Chong themselves are said to make an appearance at the location on its opening. You can find the Clovis location at 601 Llano Estacado Boulevard, Clovis, New Mexico. The opening of a new public skate park in Portales is about 2 weeks away from a grand opening. Sarah Austin, the city manager for the city of Portales, tells News 3 New Mexico that the skate park just needs a few finishing touches before officially opening to the public. The park near Eastern New Mexico University is already being used by some, but is not quite complete. The skate park is being built about 2 years after the old skate park was torn down. The new and improved skate park has been under construction since earlier this year.
Paths to Health New Mexico is hosting diabetes self-management programs through March and April. The program runs for 6 weeks, 1 day each week. The English program runs from March 13th to April 17th over Zoom from 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Wednesdays. The Spanish workshops run from March 15th to April 19th on Fridays over the phone from 5:30 to 6 p.m. Topics discussed include monitoring blood sugar levels, foot care, preventing or delaying complications, healthy eating, communication, and much more. For more information on the English programs or to enroll, you can call the phone numbers 505-850-0176 or 575-703-2343. And the Spanish program, you can call the number 505-559-6862.
Coming up after the break, Jonathan will have their full weather report for you.
But first, here's a look at today's financial market.
Welcome back to News 3 New Mexico. Let's take another look at that weather, shall we? We currently have some rain that's kind of pushing up northeast, all the way down from Alabama, all the way up to Wisconsin and Chicago, Illinois. And as we're taking a look at the eastern side, or the western side of this country, we're seeing some rain over here in Arizona and some snow in Colorado, but we're also seeing a lot of moisture in New Mexico. We're seeing a lot of scattered rain, scattered snowstorms, and some mixed areas throughout the state. And for eastern New Mexico, we're seeing a lot of rain that's kind of sort of concentrated or in like the North Carlsbad, South Roswell area. We have a winter weather advisory for most of the state in Catron, Cibola, Socorro, and Valencia, as well as Los Alamos, Rio Arriba, Sandoval, and Taos counties. That's going to be all of this purple area right here, and that's going to be in effect until Saturday at 5 a.m. Taking a look at our current temperatures, we've got 53 up here in Farmington and 41 in Gallup. We've got 50 in Silver City with 63 in Las Cruces. We've got 44 in Albuquerque and 36 in Santa Fe. We've got 30 in Clayton and 31 in Raton. We've got 53 down here in Carlsbad and 49 in Roswell. And taking a look at eastern New Mexico and West Texas, we've got 40 in Portales, 39 in Tucumcari. And then for West Texas, we've got 32 in Amarillo and 40 in Lubbock. For tonight's lows, we're seeing a lot of 20s and 30s with a 23 up here in Farmington for the northwest part of the state. We're seeing 35 in Truth or Consequences and 36 in Alamogordo. We're seeing 32 in Albuquerque with 26 in Santa Fe. We're seeing 19 in Raton and 31 in Clayton for the northeast. And for the southeast, we've got 34 in Carlsbad and 29 in Hobbs. And taking a look at the eastern part of the state, and for West Texas, we've got 28 in Tucumcari and 29 in Portales, 31 in Amarillo, and 29 in Lubbock. Taking a look at tomorrow's highs, we're going to be seeing a lot of 50s and 60s throughout most of the state, with 56 up here in Farmington and 53 in Gallup, 55 in Silver City and 60 in Las Cruces, 51 up here in Santa Fe, as well as 51 in Raton and Clayton for the northeast. And for the southeast, we've got 56 in Hobbs and Carlsbad, and we're seeing 54 in Tucumcari, Clovis, Portales, and Amarillo. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast for Roswell, we're seeing a lot of 70s as we start to get into the next week. So we're just getting towards the end of that winter weather that we've gotten here with some chance of rain on Friday. Carlsbad, we're seeing sun throughout most of the week. We're seeing some wind coming in on Wednesday. And for Portales, we're seeing a lot of 50s and 60s, and we're going to end the week with 55 and a chance of rain.
A chance of rain, that's going to be nice.
I am so ready for spring. I'm over the winter
I know.
weather.
Well, thankfully, it looks like it's starting to come on its way.
That's amazing. Well, that's all the time we have for weather right now. We hope you join us right after this break. Welcome back. President Joe Biden delivered his third State of the Union address and fourth address to Congress Thursday night. The high-stakes speech coming as the president faces re-election.
In his speech, Biden defended his record and touted what he hopes to continue accomplishing. Jen Sullivan recaps his address.
President Joe Biden addressing the nation Thursday. A State of the Union address coming at a pivotal moment for his presidency, highlighting his accomplishments and laying out his plans for what he hopes to accomplish if elected for another 4 years.
The state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
Thursday's speech comes at a tumultuous time, both domestically and internationally. Americans grappling with high inflation.
I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home.
Issues surrounding women's health and the right to an abortion dividing many voters.
If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Biden also addressing the harsh criticism his administration has faced in regards to immigration.
I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country.
But the turmoil overseas taking center stage Thursday. The Israel-Hamas war causing rifts here at home as many Americans worry the president isn't doing enough to send humanitarian aid to Gaza. Biden using Thursday's address to make a major announcement.
I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters.
And congressional leaders torn on whether to send additional aid to Ukraine to help them fight in the war against Russia.
Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself.
Biden wrapping up his last State of the Union address before facing a likely rematch with former President Donald Trump in November. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
As of today, the only other candidate still in the race for the Democratic nominee for president besides current President Joe Biden is Marianne Williamson, who currently has 0 delegates to win the nomination.
Meanwhile, on the Republican side of the election, Donald Trump is the only one left in the race and needs less than 150 delegates to win the nomination, meaning that we are most likely going to have another election where Trump and Biden face off for the presidency in November. CVS and Walgreens are now certified to sell the medication abortion pill mifepristone in states where it is legal. CVS is planning to begin filling prescriptions in Massachusetts and Rhode Island in the coming weeks. More states will be added on a rolling basis. Walgreens to start offering the drugs within a week in New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, California, and Illinois. Medication abortion is the most common method of abortion in the U.S., and this drug is that of the center of legal challenges. The Supreme Court is expected to decide whether it is going to restrict access to it by July.
A New Mexico jury found film armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed guilty of involuntary manslaughter on Wednesday.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, through the foreperson, have you reached a verdict?
Yes.
All right, and do you wish to read the verdicts?
Sure.
Okay. I would start with count 1.
Count 1.
Okay. You have both of them. Will the defendant please stand?
We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, guilty of involuntary manslaughter as charged in count 1. We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, not guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in count 2.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. Let me get.
That's for the shooting that left cinematographer Helena Hutchins dead on the set of the movie Rust. Actor Alec Baldwin was holding the gun, and Gutierrez-Reed was responsible for its safety. It was not supposed to be loaded with live ammunition. She could get sentenced for up to 18 months in prison for the conviction. Prosecutors also charged her with tampering with evidence for transferring a bag of cocaine to someone else after police interviewed her. The jury found her not guilty of that crime. Coming up after the break, Donnie will have his full sports report for you, so stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Donnie Couch. Let's get to this week's sports. Last night was day one of the Lone Star Conference Basketball Championship, and your Hounds are going to keep dancing as they defeated Angelo State 103-84. Andreas Chavez has more from the Hounds' big opening round win in Frisco.
We're here at the Commercial Center in Frisco, Texas, as your Eastern Mexico University Greyhounds have defeated Angelo State and are now into the semifinals of the Lone Star Conference Championship. We're going to have the highlights for you right now.
Greyhounds started the game slow, trailing early in the first half, but they would eventually find their groove, going from a 6-point deficit all the way to an 11-point lead at halftime. Greg Johnson led the team with 23 points, Ja'Cory Ely added on 18, and 4 Greyhounds reached double digits, including freshman Konrad Luczynski, who scored 14 points off the bench, providing a spark for the Greyhounds. Greyhounds would maintain the momentum for the remainder of the game, out-rebounding Angelo State 44-25 and put away Angelo State 103-84 in the Lone Star Conference quarterfinals, advancing to the semifinals that begin Saturday afternoon. Here's a word from Coach Brent Owens and senior Lyron Bennett on the game.
Feels great to get a win in tournament play. If you're winning in March, you're usually having a lot of fun, and I think our guys are having a lot of fun. Yeah, it'll be a really good matchup on Saturday against Cameron. They're a good team. They're playing some great basketball right now. We're going to celebrate this tonight. We'll be watching film before we go to bed on Cameron, and we'll get a little bit of practice in, but tomorrow will be a pretty heavy rest day, in hopes that we'll be playing 2 games this weekend coming up.
It's a good feeling, just to know that just we can play through contact, especially in practice. Coach emphasis, we get the paddle, he hits us as hard as we can. We got to finish through it. We know we don't get calls, so we always go in the mindset we play against 8 people, the refs and the other team. So we know to play strong off 2, just try to finish.
Tip-off will be at 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with coverage available on the Lone Star Digital Network, as well as 105.9 Kiesel Country with Doc Elder. We have updates available for you on our Facebook page as the tournament carries on throughout the weekend. The first round of the 16 Girls Prep High School Basketball State Tournament is underway tonight. 16 teams take in action at the hardwood across the state. You're looking at a live look at the game going on right now. Against Lovington against Valencia Jaguars. 17-13 Lovington. Valencia has home court advantage as they possess the better record at 18 wins and 11 losses. Lovington is sitting at 17 wins and 12 losses. Despite the record, Lovington is favored, having played the tougher schedule throughout the season. Also in action tonight from our area are the gals from Clovis and Portales. The Lady Wildcats are right now taking on Mayfield and Albuquerque. The Lady Rams are facing Hope Christensen and Home in Portales. The winner of tonight's matchups, which include most of our teams in our viewing area, head to the round of 8 starting tomorrow. Good luck to all those girls and all their teams out there in the state. And now for esports. Team Valorant had a good win versus the Colorado School of Mines in a 2-1 bout as they move on to face Portland Violet next week and hope to start a winning streak. Team Overwatch, however, had a crushing defeat versus TAIMU and move on for a bounce-back win versus the Seattle University. We'll have more scores and updates from the esports teams in the upcoming weeks. The Portales Rams basketball team goes on to face Lovington Wildcats in a rematch after having lost the team in an 18-point defeat the week prior. We'll have more updates for that game and more from the Portales Rams boys basketball in the upcoming weeks. Well, that's all the sports I have for you today. We'll be right back to desk after this.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. We will not be live next week due to spring break, but we hope you join us again on March 20th.
Good night.